Now, if you've ever bought or sold a house in the UK, you'll know how frustrating it can be. An Oxfordshire man who lost thousands of pounds when a would-be buyer backed out of buying his property is calling for an overhaul of property buying rules. Ray Chaplin from Banbury wants financial penalties if deals collapse, as Jeremy Stern reports.
Ray Chaplin wanted to travel the world in 2020 with his partner Angie. The coronavirus ruled that out. Then came another setback. A property sale collapsed when their buyers pulled out on the completion date.
It was just heart-rending, to be honest. Extremely angry, obviously, as well, with the whole situation, as well as the shock. And it took a few days to get over, really, and to come to terms with, and there was nothing we could do. There's no tie-in with the buyers. They could obviously pull out so easily.
Research from 2018 showed about 300,000 property transactions a year don't go through. Sellers and buyers can be left hundreds of pounds out of pocket. There's concern in the industry that the economic uncertainty could undermine future sales. Oxfordshire entrepreneur Sarker Wild has a petition calling for sellers to carry out legal searches before marketing and buyers to make a commitment when their offer's accepted.
They would pay a non-returnable deposit, around 10%, and if they, at that point or after that, until completion, withdraw from the sale, they would lose that holding deposit. Money would go to the seller.
The Homeowners Alliance has campaigned for similar changes for several years.
To really transform the house buying and selling process is going to be really difficult because you've got lots of different professionals, lots of people have vested interest, and the government initiative isn't really there. It's not the top of the pile for ministers and for MPs.
The government says it's working on ways to improve the process. Ray and Angie aren't convinced a sale would go through. For now, they're working on their cleaning business, their travel plans very much on hold. Jeremy Stern, BBC South Today.
Well, I've been speaking to the property expert Kate Faulkner and started by asking her if she thought rules around buying and selling would change.
I am 100% confident that they are going to change. The government, two or 3 years ago, put out a consultation, and since then we have worked with MHCLG to make sure that both government and industry are working really, really hard, very collaboratively, to reduce the third of sales fall-throughs and the 20 weeks to move home. We are all really keen to do that, so it will change.
Can people cut buying and selling costs down?
You are now sending shivers down the spine of the home moving industry. It's a little like saying, oh, I would fancy some cut price plastic surgery. There are some things in life, like cars, for example. You can spend 200 grand on a car, or you can spend 5,000 on a car. Either way, it gets you from A to B and it's safe. It's not the same when you're engaging home moving services. You want agents that are able to have the time and spend to market your property and to find the right buyers and do all the checks they need to do. Same with the legal company, same with the surveyor. This is one area where you want to spend a bit of money to get a really good service. You don't want £250,000, £500,000 purchase to go wrong. So this isn't somewhere where you should look at cutting corners, and I certainly don't. I pay a fair price.
And just finally, there has been a somewhat surprising boom in the house market recently. Is that going to last?
Well, whether it's a boom or a bust, they never last, which is kind of good news all round. But this boom is part of people not buying before lockdown because of Brexit, then lockdown hits and they couldn't buy. And now you've got people trying to beat the stamp duty deadline of the 31st. So we've got loads of sales and purchases being brought forward. So we've got this huge concertina of activity. That won't last, but we're not expecting necessarily prices to be hit. Nobody really knows. This is an unusual recession and uncertain times, but the volumes will certainly be less next year than they are this year certainly by the time we get to this time next year, I expect. So it'll have quietened down.
Good to talk to you, Kate. Thanks for that advice. All the best to you.
Pleasure.